So, as you can see, I'm still framing the soffits here, guys. Thought I'd get back into the swing of my little Free Tip Friday videos because there's just so many little tidbits of information I could share when dealing with super frustrating framing situations like this. As you can see, this house is in its most heinous form. Blue stucco with big blobs on it, and up here, I remember when I bought the house, just sitting out here in the yard looking up at this side of the house is just so unappealing because they've cantilevered this floor here to gain a little bit of extra room for the master, which is nice. But the soffit, they just kind of kept the soffit short to keep that plane over there where it's a full 2 feet. So over there on that corner of the house, as you're walking up, it looks kind of nice because you got a nice 2-foot overhang. But over here, it kind of looks like a bag of dicks. Pause for effect. And so when I was doing this renovation, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could somehow extend that soffit, but I'm not redoing the roof right now. But then it hit me, I'm redoing the whole roof now. Spending thousands of dollars, so I might as well reframe that soffit and bump it out 2 feet. Herein lies the problem. If I bump this out 2 feet, then that part where it steps back is gonna be 4 feet, and that soffit would just be like swaying in the wind. So what I'm gonna do is just bump it out 2 feet where the cantilever is here and run it down 2 foot past the edge of that bump out corner right there. So there'll be a little step in the soffit, but I think it might add a little bit of visual interest. Kind of, it'll come just over the peak and then it'll step back. And it's kind of hidden right in behind that tree anyway, so most people won't even notice it because the tree will block it when you're approaching from that side, and even when you're sitting down here, you're not gonna see it that much. And I think it's gonna look kind of cool. Ideally, I'd like to have even soffits without a step. Yes, I know, but I'm working with a turd here, so as much as I polish it, at the end of the day, it's still gonna be kind of a turd. But I'm telling you, you're not gonna recognize this house when I'm done with it. All right, so I had to open up my roof in order to get these little eave brackets or whatever secured into the framing system. Now, I know a lot of people in the comment section are gonna be like, oh man, there's a way faster way to do it. Just build a ladder, just 2 long pieces with a bunch of blocks in between and just bolt it to your house. And then when you put the plywood on, that holds it straight. It holds it straight for a couple of years, but then you just start to get really sad looking eaves. So yes, that's a way faster way to do it, but it's also a way shittier way to do it because that's the way this was done on the other side. And my eaves, it's all right near the peak because the boxes kind of support each other at the peak, but then as you get down, the eaves start to droop near the bottom corner every time with those ladder box stupid things. So that side over there was sagging 3/4 of an inch down at the bottom. So this is the way I prefer to do it. I just gnaw straight through here. This is a wall, it's not a truss, it's just a little wall that they built up underneath the eave. This is the last truss right here. And then this is the cantilevered section of the wall that they built over top. I just notched through the top plate of that, right where the stud is. And then I dropped my piece in, and then I screwed a bolt onto that stud to support the underside of this 2x4, and then I end screwed with 4-inch screws through the end into this 2x4. So that is super solid now. You know, I could stand on that if I had the balls to, but I won't because that's like a 25-foot drop. But now I've got all those set. This one was a little bit proud, so I got to buzz that off with the saw, and then I'm going to set this 2x4 along here. Now that's hard to do, especially with one guy. Justin's running stuff to the dump right now, so I don't have anybody to help me. So I'm going to show you a little tip on how I mount that fascia board. So my 16-foot board is going to run just a little bit past here. Probably end up having to make a joint right on this little rafter tail here. But what I do is I just take a screw, just toe screw in on the side, and then use a little helper block here. Put 2 screws in that. Set my piece flat on here. I'm going to go climb up the ladder, push it over, drop it onto that on edge. It'll sit there as long as I don't knock it off. Then I can screw it down at that end and then work my way up here and screw it. Alright guys, so you can see I got the framing for the soffit all finished off here. Putting these strips of, I just used up all my 3/4 inch cutoffs from the deck down there, which worked out nicely because didn't have to buy any more material. And then I just ripped into smaller strips for right in between here, and then these big strips where I put the little brackets going out. And that adds a lot of shear strength. So you can actually stand right on the soffit, and it's barely flexing at all because that plywood adds so much shear strength. So now I'm gonna just make sure all my nails are nailed down or pulled out, and then I'm resheeting over this whole roof surface with 3/8 plywood. And that'll add even more strength once I have 3/8 out here and nailed in or screwed into that framing. And then we can start the roof. Yay! Alright, so we're getting the tar board on over there now that this whole side has been sheeted, but it's really hot. I don't like putting the tar board down, so I'm going to work on getting some fascia boards on because the fascias are part of the built-in gutter system. I'd like to get them on so that we can actually peel and stick and run the torch on right up and over the fascia board. So here's your bonus tip for this week. Your bonus tip for this week is one-man installations of Fascia. I speak English. Your bonus tip this week is how to do one-man installation of fascia boards. Now these are 2x12, big fascias, 25 feet down to the driveway down there. Working off ladders by yourself with a 2-foot overhang, that's not gonna happen. So I gotta put these on from the roof. And in order to get the right reveal on my soffit underneath, I want to have 1.5 inches below framing because there's going to be a 3/4 inch soffit material, and then that'll leave a 3/4 inch reveal on the fascia. So what I've done is ripped a couple 3/4 inch strips out of a 2x4, so I've got 1.5 inch little blocks by 3/4 thick, and I'm just screwing them on, putting the screw near the top edge of the block so that the fascia or the soffit material will cover the screw hole when I take these blocks out. But what these blocks do is just set my reveal so that when I hang my board over and pull it up tight, these blocks will hold the bottom of the fascia at 1.5 inches exactly. So far so good. All right, so I've set a couple screws right here. Okay. So you can see that my fascia is not cut to length. I find that measuring fascias is problematic. It's really hard to account for exact roof pitches, and I like things to be pretty close to perfect, so just put it in place and then I'm gonna scribe. Then I can spot my peak just perfect here. No. Now I can pull that off, cut it exactly. So I always sit at about 40 46 degrees. That way I know the outside edge of my miter is going to be tight, and I'll put some glue in there to fill the tiny unmeasurable gap at the heel of the joint. Ooh, hammer in my butt crack. Oh yeah. All right, well, I got a couple pieces of fascia on for today, and I'm gonna call it because I need to go and edit this video and get it out to you guys ASAP. But before you go, we got exciting news, guys. Check it out. I know you've been waiting with bated breath to hear me say these words, but it's finally happening. Boom! The Samurai stool plans are finally available. I don't know if you guys were around. Look at that, it's got a nice little rocker to it, never fixed that. Lazy Samurai. Anyways, I don't know if you guys were around when I pumped this video. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it at the end of the video and down in the description box. Really? Really? You gotta have a compressor plugged in right now? Frick! Damn off switch on this thing. Shut up. Yeah, so go and check out that video and then go get yourself some plans and build your own Samurai stool, because this thing, oh, it just feels so nice on your buttocks. For those of you who are wondering, the legs are made out of Gary oak, the dark wood is walnut, and then we got Eastern maple for the leg braces as well as the top. So there's some really fun joinery in here, and making the model and the plans for this stool was a task, let me tell you. Oh my goodness. But they are available. So if you've been waiting to make yourself a stool, now's your chance. And get this, gonna have the plans for the tool chest, Alex Steel tool chest, available next week. Ho, 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 baby. So whether or not you want to make yourself a stool so you're prepared to sit down when you see the glory of making your own tool chest, or you want to make the tool chest first and then be overwhelmed and then make the stool so you can sit down and stare at the tool chest. I highly recommend having a place to sit your tired ass down at the end of the day. It just feels really, really good. All right, that was my sales plug, you guys. Until the next video, Samurai out.